Okay, let's talk about the Section 9 change in CPI weighted average assignment. This is actually a really neat assignment, but the directions can be a little confusing. So if you go through this video and listen to it, that should clarify it pretty well. But I do want to make sure that we go over this. So same idea, there's a PDF. We can open that up. That is right here. Okay, and what this shows is it shows all these different categories of expenses. So these are different things you spend money on. And this is the average weight that it holds for each person. So let's say I'm an average person in the Northeast region. I'm going to spend 15.009% of my money on food and beverages. I'm going to spend 44.377% of my money on housing and so forth. So this is what the average person spends. Now, during 2006 to 2007, these are the percents that the amount that expense went up or down. So from 2006 to 2007, food got 4% more expensive. Housing got 3% more expensive. Clothes went down in price. All right, so you can kind of look at that and see how much things are changing. And so the idea here is we can figure out how much of the average person's budget, what percent did it go up or down? All right, so this is obviously going to make them go up. This will make them go down. They didn't spend a whole lot on apparel though, only 3%. So this drop isn't really going to help them a lot. They spent a ton of money on housing, so this increase will hurt them more. So the more you spend in a category, the more effect that percent change has on your budget. Okay, you'd really hope that housing went down because most of your money goes into housing. So looking at this, the ones that actually dropped were relatively low categories to begin with. So this person's going to be spending more money in 2007 because of those increases. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to open up an Excel sheet and type all this stuff in. Okay, I kind of got a head start on you. But what I want you to do once you type it in is let's really try to format it exactly like you see it. So the first thing I see is all these are centered. Another thing I do want to point out is when you type in the weights, go ahead and put a percent sign after each one. When you type in the percent change, leave those as whole numbers. We'll talk about why we want to do that in a later section. But for now, just format it this way and it'll save you some time at the end of the problem. So put percents on your weights. Don't put percents on the actual change though. Leave those as whole numbers. After we multiply and do all that, our final answer will be a percent. And then we don't have to convert it into one if we leave these as whole numbers. Okay, so I want to center this. It looks like this is also bold. I want to go ahead and highlight everything. Whoops. Highlight it all and insert a border. So format cells. Thick border on the outside, thin border on the inside. Okay. They also have a double line down here. You can see the double line on the PDF. So we're going to reformat and put a double line. This time it's on the top. Because here's where the little box is. Here's the box here. This is the top. That's the top. Okay, so that looks pretty good. These are in the center on the PDF, so I'll center those. Okay, the other thing you'll notice is on the PDF there's 3 decimal places. Mine only have 2. If I highlight all these, I can actually add an extra decimal. Okay, now it looks just like the PDF, which is fantastic. Okay, another cool thing you can do, don't actually type the 100% in. Hit equals sum, and then highlight all these. Then when it equals 100, you know you typed them all in correctly. So that's kind of a cool little check there. Okay, so here's my table. The table looks good. In this little corner now, they made it gray. And that's going to be where my weighted average is. Okay, they have a question mark. We're going to do the answer. So to find a weighted average is weight times category plus weight times category plus weight times category plus, and it just keeps going. Weight times category. You have to do this for every category. oops, just kidding. Weight times category plus weight times category plus weight times category plus weight times category. All right, and so what this will do is this will say, okay, what was the average increase in my total budget? We know that food and beverage goes up 4%, housing goes up 3%, apparel drops, but the average budget is going to actually increase by about 2.5%. So we're going to go center this now. And that's a lot of decimals. I can actually decrease that. Let's do 2 decimal places. Okay, and so that right there then would be my increase there. Okay, so once you complete that table, they want you to calculate the weighted average. That's what we just did. It says by hand. We're not doing that by hand. We're using Excel for that. So do that in your Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and then B basically just says enter the data and calculate the weighted average. So A and B are the same thing. I don't really want you to do it by hand. That's not the point of this assignment. Okay, and so now C is the fun part. This is where we're going to copy this table and we're going to see what our percentages are. Okay, so go over here now and just highlight it and do copy. Go down here and do paste. Okay, now what we're saying is everything is perfectly copied here, but maybe my weights are different for me. Okay, let's say I'm a very healthy person. My medical care is only 3%. Okay, that's going to change my weighted average because I changed that number. Okay, so maybe my housing, maybe I have a really cheap apartment. I only spend 15% on housing, but I eat a lot. So I spend 30% on food. Apparel, I love to buy my clothes. I spend 20% on my clothes. And let's see, transportation, let's say 20 as well. Recreation, I have no fun, no money. Education, I don't really spend money on school. Communication, though, could be like a phone. Just put 5% there. And we got to make it equal 100, so 7% other. Okay, so kind of pick whatever weights you want to here to match what you feel like your life situation is. Okay, if we do that, we can see that my change was only 2%. And the main reason why is that my housing was a much smaller weight. Okay, so, you can kind of look at it. I spent more money on apparel, which was a negative one, which helped my budget out. So change these numbers to match your situation, your life, as best you can. Make sure it adds to 100. Then you can see how your budget increased or decreased compared to the average person up here. Yeah, and once you do that, you just need to submit this Excel sheet. There's no Word document here, just the Excel sheet. Submit it and have fun with that assignment.